And now, WJCL News, working for you.
Good evening and thanks for joining us here for WJCL News at 11 o'clock. I'm Megan Schiller. We start our show off tonight with news of a shooting within the past couple hours on Crosby Street. This is video of the scene. Here's what we know so far. Police surrounded that home there on Crosby Street. Reports initially said someone got shot. Initial reports said that a child was shot at that home, but police on scene wouldn't confirm with the media whether or not it was a child or an adult for that matter. A shooting victim was taken to Memorial Hospital, and witnesses are apparently not cooperating, according to police. We will bring you updates both on air and online when we know the age and the identity of all who were involved. And this was the scene around 3 o'clock this afternoon at an apartment complex in Yamakra Village. A man in his early 20s died on the scene from multiple gunshot wounds. Police say the male victim was standing on his front porch.
And they're talking to everyone they can talk to, and of course they're always looking for more information. It obviously was a targeted shoot. This person was targeted for what took place, pretty obvious, and the investigation is starting now.
Police say that male victim was in his 20s, and they are not releasing his name at this time. And we have an update to a Liberty County death investigation. Officers captured Randall Joey Futch Jr. in Bullock County this afternoon. He's wanted for the death of 52-year-old Dana Ziegler and the theft of her car. Law enforcement staked at a house that Futch often visited and caught him when he drove Ziegler's car up to the home. Stick with us here at WJCL News as this story continues to develop. And 22-year-old Ramondo Ashley, the shooting victim from Saturday morning, has died. The suspect turned himself in, but neighbors are still feeling pretty uneasy. Neighbors are crying out, "Stop the violence," especially so close to the holidays. The two murders this weekend makes 31 homicides in Savannah this year. That's up from last year. Neighbors are concerned about the lack of positive outlets and role models for area teens.
They need to get them boys something to do.
Show these kids the right way, man, and let them know, hey, it's other ways besides, killing each other, and going to prison and throwing your life away, because you're not only hurting yourself, you're hurting your family and other families.
Now, taking a look at the crime on East Duffy Street, there's been a handful of burglaries and thefts since January, but this is the only homicide on East Duffy Street this year. And WJCL News continues to track crime in your neighborhood. This is a look at reported crimes from Victory Drive to the Savannah River in just the past month. Robberies, break-ins, and shootings. WJCL has been tracking the crime for you. And just this weekend, like we said, 2 more people are dead as a result of this senseless crime. And don't forget, you can always call Crime Stoppers to report a crime, and you can do it anonymously. That number, 234-2020. You can also text CSTOP 2020 and your tip to crimes. Remember, you could qualify for a cash reward. And we now know the name of the Fort Stewart soldier who died following a Friday morning car crash. The Army has identified the soldier as 26-year-old Aaron DeMars. He served with the 4-3 Brigade Special Troops Battalion. We put a call into the coroner's office this afternoon, and we were told no word yet whether alcohol played a factor in the crash. Georgia State Patrol says it happened on Elma G. Miles Parkway in Hinesville early Friday morning. A driver spotted the car upside down in a pond. The troopers say that DeMars was driving around 95 miles an hour when he lost control.
Right there where the record driver is, that's where the car entered the pond at that point. That pole, that light pole up there, that's where he struck that pole and continued moving forward. Once he flipped into the pond, it traveled throughout the night.
Coroner reported smelling alcohol on his body, but hasn't said yet if it was in his system. As I said, we will be sure to update you on WJCL.com as well as on air whenever we hear back from the coroner's office. And the chief meteorologist is here with us this weekend, telling us how many more days we have to get through this crummy weather.
Yeah, it was a kind of a dreary weekend, wasn't it? And it's going to continue, unfortunately, for a little longer as we head into our Christmas week.
bad news.
Oh,
You get cool for Christmas.
All right, let's take a look at what's happening out there. We've got more moisture where this came from. We're stuck in a pattern where the clouds and some occasional impulses of rain are going to continue to move up across the area. Right now we're in a little bit of a break as we look at our live radar. We had some steady rain coming through earlier, but most of that has moved off toward northeast. We still have a little bit of rain in northern Jasper County and Hampton County. We do have some spots of drizzle back across Georgia as well. It looks like another batch of rain will try to move through late tonight. We're tracking that coming up from the southwest, and it could be a little bit heavy at times, mainly in the southern parts of our area, such as around Darien. That's through 7 a.m. So they want to allow a little extra time if you are heading to work in the morning. The streets are going to be on the wet side. And then during the day, we'll likely have some breaks. We'll have some areas of light rain or drizzle through 5 o'clock. It'll be another cool day outside, maybe not quite as cool as today, but still temperatures are going to be chilly. So your weather headlines, periods of rain are going to continue. It looks like we're going to have off and on rain all the way up through Christmas Eve. We'll finally clear out on Christmas Day. We'll take a look at your Storm Tracker 7-day in just a bit.
Well, school systems across South Carolina say they're thankful for Christmas break, but for a very different reason this year. Finally, a chance to stop the flu outbreak. The peak of flu season's usually around January or February, but the State Department of Health says that the flu is currently widespread across all of South Carolina. And our coverage continues online. You can see all of our flu coverage on WJCL.com. That includes the latest report and tips from Beaufort County. It is one of the featured stories on the right-hand side of the homepage. Well, this upcoming week is a huge week for organizations like Feed the Hungry. We've compiled a list of upcoming planned holiday dinners. There is a dinner planned for Monday night at the Ramada Hotel in Pooler at 3 p.m. and another dinner planned for the 23rd in Jessup at 1 p.m. in the afternoon. Feed the Hungry says it is still in need of toys. You can always drop off toys at their location in the Garden City or at the Savannah Penny Saver office right here in Savannah. Well, the Colonial Christmas was held today at Wormslow Park. Festivities started at 1 p.m. and ran until 4. Guests enjoyed hot cider and cookies, as well as caroling, dancing, and the lighting of the Yule log.
What do you think?
Very much. I'm interested in history, discover, and the way people lived in that century. It's quite interesting too.
Yes, and it's a bit different from the Christmas that's downtown, you know, the more commercial side of Christmas. This is closer to the genuine festivities and holiday.
When Wormslow Park is not celebrating Christmas, they are busy hosting local school field trips, demonstrating how to blacksmith, tailoring, and cooking, among other things, in order to give living history lessons. Well, the bodies of 2 little boys have been discovered after an apartment fire in South Carolina. Spartanburg County fire officials say the boys were between the ages of 6 and 8 years old. Crews were called to the Southern Pines apartment complex just after midnight. Officials say 16 units were evacuated, and the cause of that fire there is still under investigation. And firefighters in Columbia say a space heater caused a fire that killed a 6-month-old baby. The space heater was in the baby's room. A family member tried to save the infant, but the flames were just too intense. Everyone else in the home escaped okay. And coming up on WJCL News, as 2014 comes to an end, we're wrapping up one of the biggest stories of the year, the tragedy on the trestle. What? What does that mean? What are main monitors? So, what? Oh my God.
And now, WJCL News, working for you.
Well, tonight we continue our look back at some of the top stories making news in 2012. One of those was the tragedy on the trestle. A crew member was killed and another injured when they were hit by a train in Jessup. It happened while they were filming the Greg Allman biopic called Midnight Rider. WJCL's Jennifer Andrews takes us back through the tragic timeline.
Dramatic video taken by a camera mounted inside the train shows the Midnight Rider crew racing off the bridge as the train barrels down the tracks February 20th. They were filming a scene for the Greg Allman biopic Midnight Rider when the unthinkable happens. The train hits and kills camera assistant Sarah Jones and injures 6 others.
Sarah was the first person I saw. She was lying on the side of the tracks dead.
Well, the entire film industry takes action with tributes such as slates to Sarah to honor her memory, and safety seminars are provided to prevent future accidents. Then lawsuits begin piling up by crew members and others. Railroad company CSX Transportation sues the producers, saying they were denied twice to film on the tracks. And later, Jones' parents sue CSX and the movie producers.
I believe those who made poor decisions absolutely need to be held accountable.
Later, a settlement is reached with Sarah Jones' family. The terms are confidential. Meantime, OSHA proposed nearly $75,000 in fines against the production company. And the movie director, his wife, and executive producer are charged with involuntary manslaughter and criminal trespassing. They have pleaded not guilty. A statement from the lawyer of Randall Miller and his wife says they believe they had permission to be on the tracks from Rayonier and CSX. They had no reason to believe anyone would be placed in danger and would live with the sorrow of Sarah's death for the rest of their lives.
That was Jennifer Andrews reporting. After the deadly accident, Greg Allman asked the director not to go through with his biopic, and William Hurt, who was on the tracks, pulled out. Eventually, that project was scrapped. And be sure to watch Good Morning Savannah. Our next Year in Review story will cover the biggest area fires of the year. That story will run in the 6 o'clock hour tomorrow morning on Good Morning Savannah. And New York mourns for 2 policemen shot execution style on Saturday night. This morning, city officials attended a mass honoring the NYPD officers at St. Patrick's Cathedral. Cardinal Timothy Dolan officiated. Wen John Liu and Rafael Ramos, who were partners, were shot at point-blank range while sitting inside their patrol car. The suspect shot himself in a nearby subway stop after being pursued by police. He has been identified as Ismail Brensley. He had an extensive criminal history, and authorities in Baltimore believe he shot his former girlfriend before traveling to Brooklyn. Brinsley had made posts online stating that he was angry about the deaths of Eric Garner and Michael Brown and that he wanted to kill police officers. Baltimore security officials tried to warn the NYPD about the postings and the fact that Brinsley was headed to Brooklyn, but they say that that message was received at roughly the exact same time that that attack occurred. And a family is in mourning today after a Florida police officer was killed. The Tarpon Springs police officer leaves behind a wife and 5 kids.
I just can't believe this. Why would someone shoot our police officers? Why? When they are protecting us.
The Pinellas County Sheriff's Office thinks they know.
His reason for shooting the officer was he, quote, felt like a caged rat.
Sheriff Bob Gualtieri says their suspect has already admitted to the shooting of Tarpon Springs police officers Charles Condek.
He took his gun out, which was a .40 caliber handgun that had 7 rounds in it, and he fired them at the officer, striking the officer once in the upper body.
It began at 2 this morning as Officer Condek was called out to Grand Boulevard near the Spring Bayou for a noise complaint. Witnesses tell police that moments later, shots were fired.
And then he puts the car in reverse. and he backs up out of the driveway and he runs over the cop.
Kondek was rushed to a local hospital where he died. Police say the shooter, Marco Perea, fled.
As he turned north on Athens, he struck a power pole up there, just about knocked the power pole over, to show you how fast he was going and the impact, how significant the impact was of the collision. He careens off the power pole and into a parked truck.
I'm glad they caught him because he needs to pay for what he's done to a father who has children and for his wife. I mean, this is wrong.
Coming up on the other side of the break, new developments in the drama over the movie The Interview. Hear why some people say we're going to see this movie sooner or later. Plus, a look at your forecast straight ahead.
Yeah, it's kind of dreary outside, off and on rain. We've got more rain on the way as we head into your Christmas week. We'll detail your forecast up next.
Yeah. I mean, you could just kill Hollywood in a minute. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, I would do that. And then I can sing Candle in the Wind to Steph during her sports tees. Goodbye, I don't know the words, dude. That was a very tearful performance. Did anyone watch that? No?
20 up.
No? Princess Di's funeral?
Good Sunday evening. We had off and on rain today, a batch of moderate rain coming through tonight, and most of it heading out. We do have some patches of light rain and drizzle out there. As we zoom in on our live radar, we see some light rain falling around Ridgeland and up through Hampton, continuing to work off to the northeast. There's also drizzle that's not being picked up on radar too, where we do see it happening between Hinesville and Glenville and Baxley. Some very light rain in spots. Going to continue to keep things damp outside, and the coolness will continue as well. Now we look further south. There's a lot of rain in Florida, raining hard between Jacksonville and Tampa, and part of this next batch will move up into our area a little bit later on tonight, and then we'll have some other batches of rain developing and affecting us all the way through Christmas Eve. Let's take a look at what we're tracking here for overnight into tomorrow. Now another batch of rain coming up, which could possibly be heavy at times in the southern parts of the area, especially like around Darien. That's through 7 a.m. and it pushes out. We'll have mainly clouds, off and on drizzle out there in some spots tomorrow. Through Tuesday, we'll watch another band of rain coming in late in the day, so we'll get a little bit of a break. It'll actually warm up during that time, but then more rain comes in, steady rain, followed by a cold front that arrives on Wednesday. So it looks like 3 more batches of rain. This one may have actually the best chance of giving us some heavy downpours as we head through Wednesday afternoon into the evening. So it's looking like a soggy Christmas Eve coming up, and we'll finally clear things out as we get into Christmas Day. Now, today has been chilly. Temperatures struggle just to get out of the 40s. Right now we are in the upper 40s, 46 Savannah Airport, 49 Hinesville, 49 degrees in Glenville. Temperatures won't change much as we head through the rest of the night. So we'll wake up to temperatures in the upper 40s at 7 a.m. Damp outside. There could be some areas of rain around. Same thing as we head through tomorrow afternoon. Mainly pockets of light rain and drizzle around 2 o'clock. And temperatures likely will climb a little higher tomorrow, getting up into the upper 50s. Let's look at your forecast out on the water. The wind direction is going to change around some Tuesday and Wednesday, which is going to allow for some warmer air to affect the land areas. Then we'll turn colder beyond Wednesday as we get into Christmas Day. And of course, out on the water, we're also going to be dealing with plenty of rain out there as well. So let's look at your storm tracker, 7-day forecast. Kind of gloomy to start the week. It does warm up, possibly as high as 70 on Tuesday. But then that next band of showers comes in late in the afternoon. Mild but wet on Wednesday with a few downpours possible. Christmas Day, though, we finally clear out and turn colder, high in the upper 50s. And then we do get rewarded with more sunshine as we go through Friday and next weekend. Highs will be seasonably cool, mostly in the low 60s.
Well, under the North Korean regime, news from the outside world rarely reaches the average person. One North Korean defector is trying to change all this using a simple but ingenious technique. CNN's Kyung-la has the story.
Take him out.
You want us to kill the leader of North Korea?
Yes.
Americans won't see the interview in theaters. But Park Sang-hak pledges North Koreans will.
DVD?
This plastic bag is packed with Western news clips about North Korea's brutal atrocities, from labor camps to attacks on South Korea, and music videos of how the West views the regime. For years, Park, a North Korean defector, has launched the bags across the border. These giant balloons drop the bags into North Korea with the hope of reaching the average citizen. And when it does, it challenges the sole image North Koreans have of the regime. This is all North Koreans see their entire life. Only one state-controlled television station exists in North Korea. Kim Jong-un is God. His citizens expected to worship, devout, and loyal to a frenzy, or pay the price of betrayal.
Nice tank! Is that real?
The interview shatters the revered image of the regime, says Park, a silly comedy to the West, a powerful tool for this defector. He waits and hopes Sony releases the movie on DVD. It's deeply personal. 20 years ago, he read a South Korean leaflet, and he realized he needed to flee North Korea.
Is this how you see the regime crumbling?
This will change how North Koreans think, says Park. When you know the truth, it will bring change. We want North Koreans to gain freedom and topple the regime. Sony Pictures caved to North Korea, believes Park, a regime so dangerous that 2 bodyguards who asked to not be identified for safety reasons travel with him. North Korean spies have attempted to murder Park. Already heavily sanctioned and isolated, the U.S. has few options in dealing with North Korea. But Park believes he can get even. Put the very movie the regime tried so hard to block right in their own backyard. Kyung-la, CNN, Seoul.
Coming up on WJCL News, I now pronounce you husband and husband. Sir Elton John and his longtime partner have officially tied the knot. Details ahead after the break.
And now, WJCL News, working for you.
Well, it was a pretty busy week for Elton John. After more than 20 years together and a civil partnership ceremony back in 2005, Sir Elton John and partner David Furnish are officially married. A ceremony was held Sunday in Great Britain. The couple have 2 children, Zachary Jackson Levon and Elijah Joseph Daniel. Well, I guess if they stay together that long, they should have a wedding celebration, right?
I guess. Why not? That's the best part, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know yet, but in October I'll tell you.
Yeah, you'll be able to tell me. But yeah, we've got a lot to talk about in sports. Of course, going to be talking about all those big NFL games. NFC South still up in the air. Big game today between the Falcons and the Saints. I'll have highlights of that and a lot more right after the break. Stick around. Sports is up next. Welcome to sports, everyone. The Atlanta Falcons looking to keep their playoff hopes alive today. A big NFC South matchup against New Orleans Saints. The Saints could clinch the division with a win over the Falcons, while the Falcons would need a win today and next week to head to the playoffs. Julio Jones, well, he would be back in a Falcons jersey today as he'd be playing. Second quarter, Saints up. Matt Ryan is going to find Jones for the 24-yard completion, and that's going to set up the go-ahead touchdown. Third quarter now, 13-7. Falcons ahead. Devontae Freeman bursts off the right side, finds some open running room, and he's gone 31 yards for the touchdown. His first career touchdown as a Falcon, 20-7 now. Fourth quarter, Drew Brees finds Jimmy Graham over the middle, but Graham is going to be stopped short of the goal line, is stripped, and the Falcons recover. This would be reviewed and upheld. In the final seconds of regulation, Brees is going to be sacked by Cor Bierman. He's going to fumble, and Umanora is going to scoop it up and go 84 yards for the touchdown. The Falcons go on to win 30-14 over the Saints, but it wasn't all good for the Atlanta Falcons today. In a matter of 4 plays in the third quarter, 3 of Atlanta's defensive backs were injured. William Moore injured his shoulder in the game. It was Moore's first game back since injuring his foot. Also injured was back Josh Wilson, who left the game with a hamstring injury, and Dwight Lowry. Lowry, however, would return to the game later. Well, Cam Newton, he would be back after his car accident last week had him on the bench. First quarter, Panthers' first drive. Newton takes off on a 15-yard run to show that he's feeling a lot better than he was a week ago. Second quarter now, tied at 3, third and goal. Newton is going to fake the handoff, and he's going to take it in himself for the 2-yard score. 10-3, Panthers ahead. Second quarter, Johnny Manziel on a designed run tries to get to the outside, but it's going to be met by some Panthers that take him down. Manziel will be helped from the field with a hamstring injury, and he would not return. So Brian Hoyer, he's going to find Jordan Cameron. He's going to go 81 yards to be wide open for the touchdown. It's going to give the Browns the 13-10 lead. Fourth quarter still, Newton buying some time with his legs, but then throws a strike on the run to Jonathan Stewart for the 9-yard touchdown. And the Panthers are going to hold on with that lead. They win 17-3. The final. So here is what the NFC South looks like. The Saints fall to 6-9 overall and 2-3 in the division and are eliminated from the playoffs. Carolina improves to 6-8-1 after their win today. The Falcons stay undefeated in the division, improving to 5-0 and 6-9 overall, and Tampa Bay loses to move to 2-13 overall. But that means the Falcons will play the Panthers next week in Atlanta, with the winner becoming the NFC South champion. That game will be at 1 p.m. on Fox 28. The Holiday Classic basketball tournament wraps up Monday with the championship games all taking place at Savannah High School. Starting with the boys, the Washington Square bracket, Windsor Forest will play Rockmart at 5:30, while Johnson boys will play Savannah in the Crawford Square championship game. That will be at 8:30 p.m. Glen Academy girls will play Metter at 4 o'clock for the championship, and in the Columbia Square championship, the Beach girls will play Brunswick at 5:30. All the games, as I said, are at Savannah High School. And the Lady Eagles playing in the Gator Holiday Classic in Gainesville. The ladies fell to Eastern Washington tonight 55-42. They will play Southern tomorrow in their last game of the tournament. And also, we're going to have all the highlights of all the high school games from the Holiday Classic. We'll have that tomorrow on WJCL News, both at 6, 10, and 11.
Okay, sounds good. Those games are tomorrow night.
Tomorrow, yep, from 4 all the way to 8:30. So a busy day at Savannah High School and some great basketball being played.
All right. Now, if we have time, give us a quick check-in with the weather to see what we're going to be having to deal with for the next couple of days.
More periods of rain are coming, as if we haven't seen enough yet, but more dreary weather on the way. The temperatures are going to change a little bit the next 2 or 3 days as we look at your storm tracker 7-day. Tomorrow, another cool day, areas of rain and drizzle, high of 58, and then warmer Tuesday, and then a couple more bands of showers affect us late Tuesday and again on Wednesday. Could see a few heavy downpours, but we clear out for Christmas Day, and we stay sunny through next weekend.
All right, sounds perfect for us.
Yep.
I mean, that's good for me. Good job. All right, well, thanks so much for joining us here on WJCL News. We hope you have a good rest of your night.